Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm Mr. 31. Got the Xfinity race, Las Vegas today. Truck race last night was okay. It broke my streak. It didn't make any money. Didn't lose a ton, but speed hit row speeding penalties. Where an issue hurt me with some of the drivers that I had Ankrum out there. It's like my primary dominator, and then he got shuffled back into the pack. And then Cruz had one also. Having the breaks between like rain and snow and stuff kind of sucked too. But overall, I was on a lot of the drivers. Like obviously now we have him as a prime play and worked out and actually won the race. So speculation videos did well. If you came back to the channel, as promised, I did have the updated chart out there, and hopefully, I hope you guys make some more money. And I had too much wood too. Like there were very few like conditions for incidents yesterday, and he was one of them. So that definitely hurt. So looking at the Xfinity race, you got a little bit more, a few more laps here. I think there's like 134 in the truck race. You have 200 here, so dominating points are for grabs. So you're looking for probably 2 to 3 dominators. I'm going for in that. We did have practice and qualifying, so this is actual data. This is not a speculation video, which is cool. So thank you, NASCAR, for that. And I put the 10 lap average for the top 20 on column U there. And I think it's pretty accurate, although it did look like the second group out there had more room around the track from the first one. And the first group, it seemed kind of green. So the speeds are down a little bit. So I'm not super worried about that. But I think it's a good indication that just like the JR Motorsports cars looked really fast out there, and the Gibbs cars also were decent, and then mix in a couple other outliers that could do really well. A little bit of place differential with some of the guys not qualifying as well, which works out decent too, because you want to try to get the dominators here and then look for place differential, some good value plays. So I think this will be a good slate. Hopefully, it's as good as racing as a truck race without interruptions. It's gonna be in the 60s there. Winds are only like about 9 miles per hour, and it looks pretty clear. So it should be a decent race. Cautions, you've gone from having like few incident cautions up to like 6, 7, 8, 9 in some races. So that's all over the board. We'll see how it is, but it seems like this is a pretty good group of Xfinity drivers. Looking at the first couple races, I don't think that there's going to be, it should probably be a clean race going out there, and then towards the end of the race is when things start to get a little bit dicey as they start like really trying to go for it. But I think the track's wide enough and has a enough where they can go, like sometimes there were 3 and 4 wide yesterday, but they were able to get out of that before they hit corners and turn into like massive wrecks or anything. So excited for this race. I think it's going to be a very good one. You only have really one driver from like outside the series popping in, and that's going to be Eric Almirola in the 19. Everybody else is pretty much a regular here, so you don't have, he's the only one that could really take advantage of not having to go for stage points and short pitting and getting track position. And he's just been really good and dominant at these types of tracks. Anyways, that's why he comes in and steps in, a former Cup driver who had a pretty decent career up there too. So obviously going to be like one of the favorites, and that's why he's on the cover of the video. So we'll start up at the top. Sammy Smith on the pole here, fifth fastest 10 lap average. I think definitely can be in your dominator pool. And you have 3 JR Motorsports cars up here. So I think Zilich is another one that you can look at as a dominator. Quaffle, I think that he'd be like kind of the GPP guy here, eighth and 10th lap average, and he's got a lot of talent and is a good car, but like Zilich is just so much further ahead of him, I feel, at this point in his young career. And Sammy Smith is obviously a veteran that can can do well and go out there and dominate most of the race too. So within those three, you probably want to pick one of them. So I'm leaning like Smith and Zilich as my first primary dominator, and then Quaffle and GPPs. Gray and Mayer up here joining the party. and in the Gibbs car and in the Haas car. And I think that both of them would be decent upside dominators. Like I really like Mayer and GPPs. Great. I don't know if I have a ton of exposure to. The car finished like third last year. It was the 81, I believe, with Chandler Smith, and I think led a bunch of laps too. Was like one of the dominators, but obviously it's a different driver. He did good here in the Truck Series, so I think that he should be pretty solid. Also, Mayer last year had got an accident early on, so I just don't think that should be indicative of like what's going to happen this year. So you can kind of write that off. He was in a JR Motorsports car last year, but looked good here, and I think could be kind of a dark horse. Allgaier, like super good at this track. Um, really, it's changed their focus this season to be more aggressive, to try to go out there and try to lead races and try to win races, and I think that I really like that change for he and his team. Fourth fastest in 10 lap average. I finished 10th here last year, but I definitely think that he could be a second wave dominator and get up there eventually and take over for whoever leads early and be like kind of the second wave guy. Jesse Love, I think, is a cash play here. I don't know if he's going to be a dominator. His 10 lap average wasn't great, but he finished 17th last year. So thought about like maybe he should be a GPP because he probably gonna need some of those dominator points to pay off his 9.5, but I think he's solid enough if you want to consider him as if you're going for more of a balanced build and not trying to jam all these 10K guys in there as an option. Swalich and Sanchez, I think are GPPs up here. They had top 15 10 lap averages last year. Neither one of them were racing, but the cars with Parker Klingerman in the 48 finished 11th, and who was in the 18. I know it was probably an all, no, maybe it was Brandon Jones last year. Yeah, or yeah, who was it? I can't remember. Yeah, it was Creed, I think it was. Yeah, it was in the 18 last year, finished 26. So the car, that's where the cars did. I think these guys, I don't know if they're finished in the top 10. I think they'll drop down a little bit. That's why they're GPP for me. Jeb Burton looked decent here, but I just don't know if I, with all the talent here, he's good, but not great. And I think there's a lot of great drivers here that can get up there ahead of him. Like, I hate to say this, but like Harrison Burton potentially of Creed down there, still Eckes, guy maybe Brandon Jones, Austin Hill. So I can't see him holding a top 10 spot. So it's gonna be a fade for me. But I didn't really think that was in the truck series like some of the guys are going to be able to hold their who was it last night? Jake Garcia. I didn't think that he'd be able to, from starting the third position, be able to kind of hang on, and he did through the course of it. So it's possible, but I think I like other drivers much better. Almirola, like I said, I think you need to start your lineup here. Very good, six fastest in 10 lap, and a very good car, very good team, very good driver in this type of track. A lot of experience here, and does really well on these intermediate tracks. And again, he doesn't have to worry about stage points, so he can pit early to get track position and hold it. And I think that's a big advantage too for him. Parker Retzlaff qualified pretty good. He was in an Alpha Prime car. He was in Jordan Anderson last year. He struggled at Phoenix and here. I don't think it was an accident, but he just didn't look good. He finished pretty far down his field, like 31st. So a GPP option maybe, but was outside the top 20, so I probably won't be playing much of him. Jeremy Clements, I usually love in cash because he has such a good floor, but he's qualified too far up here. So it's going to be a GPP for me because he's about 25th place driver, and that's about losing 12 place differential points. So really not interested in that too much here. Austin Hill, I think if you want to look for a place differential guy, and it's gonna be hard to get like Hill, Almirola, and Allgaier plus like a first dominator in your build, but I think there's enough like 5K guys that are okay to put in if you want to try to go in that direction to get like Hill and Creed in there. It's going to be tight, but I did play around with some builds. I think it's doable. So I think he's going to be highly owned in cash, and I think he just didn't qualify well. But I think he's definitely got from his 10 lap average. And we saw some cars like that yesterday that weren't set up for like qualifying, but set up for more for race trim, and definitely. Went out there and were able to start passing cars later on. It is a tire wear thing to a degree. Again, I said in the truck video, it's not like one of those ones where Auto Club, Old Atlanta, Homestead, where it just completely chews up the tires and you have to manage them well. But fresher tires are definitely an advantage here. So, and Hill's pretty good at being able to maintain times and the best out of him later on in runs. So I think that bodes well for him starting here and getting some place differential. And he could potentially go up there and lead some laps later on and maybe be your third wave dominator. Brendan Jones, I'm going to give the 10K nod here too. He's always a volatile guy and it's perfect to put him in the top GPP. The car finished first here last year under John Hunter Nemechek. It was a dominant car, and he finished ninth in his car, and he was in the nine for JR Motorsports, I believe, last year. So I think that there's definitely some place differential, some upside here. I don't think I'll have a ton of ownership, so the medium ownership I think is a nice pivot off these some of these other drivers, and definitely could help you win the top GPP. Dianakis, GPP guys here, they're both still in the top 20, barely in 10 lap average. I think they probably finish around where they start. Last year, the 10 and 16 finished 15th and 6th, but it was AJ Allmendinger driving probably the 16. I forget who was in the 10, but so definitely the cars are top 15 last year. So I think that these drivers are decent and probably can hang around the top 20, top 15. So I think they're good for GPP fill-ins. Harrison Burton, definitely more suited for here, has actually been doing quite well. The team's not great. This is Haley Deegan's team last year, but she's finished 15th in in that car. So I think there's definitely some upside here for Burton. And again, if you're doing a more balanced build, you're looking for guys in the 7K, 8K range, might be better. But if you're trying to get like all three 10K guys in or two 10K guys and Hill in your lineup, you're probably not going to be around this range. So this is a moot point. But again, if you go for a balanced build, I think Burton's definitely someone to consider here. Di Benedetto, I think you can play in cash also. Just has a lot of experience here. Outside the top 20. The car didn't race last year and he didn't race, so there's really no data on that. But he's raced at Vegas and Cup and Truck and many other series. So 67, like the price tag. I think that he's right at the 4X line that I look for with my projections, and I think he's a solid cash play if you need somebody in the 6K range, but there might be some cheaper guys, a little bit less expensive that you could go to. But if you need a couple of them, then I think that he fits the bill for you. So you're going to make a prime play if you're going for the balance build. I get it. Um, if you don't and you want to go down and pick another one like the cash plays that I have down lower if you need to try to get those 10K guys in. So if you wanted to go for like Perkins, I think would be the replacement if you're going for that like scars and scrubs build. I'd maybe slide the prime tag to him. But in a balance build, I love Sieg here. He was a top 10 car last year, 20th, 14th or 12th actually and 10 lap speed. So he's a good long run car. I see him getting past cars and I see him getting up there and ending up in the top 10. At least 10 place differential points, maybe a little bit more. So solid play. That's why I got the prime tag on him. And I think even though I have him highly owned here, it might not be because, like I said, if people are trying to go with Allgaier and Almirola and then jam in Hill and Creed. If you try to get like a Sieg in your lineup, then you're playing like Greg Van Alst and Joey Gase and Dawson Cram, Chris Wright. I'm just not sure that's right for what you want to do for cash. Kyle Sieg, the brother here, probably going to be low owned, but definitely had some upside here. He's not a 21st place car, even though he did finish 20th last year. I feel more he's like a 30th to 25th. So I have a GPP tag on him and not the fade with how the projection looks at only 2.81x. But I do think there's some upside here. So keep him in mind if you need to get down to that 6K range. Alfredo, terrible start to the year, but not like his fault. Just super speedways and just road courses just didn't bode well for him. But last year, this he finished 16th here in a different car, and I think you can play him in cash here. I think at 72 again, it might be kind of a no man's land like Burton. Um, but see how your build goes. I think that he's has enough floor to get you by if that's what you need to do. I definitely would probably like save $300 and drop down to Josh Williams over him because Williams finished 14th last year. He has been solid on medium tracks, and you're saving like $300. So I think between the two plays, they're both there. Maybe use both of them if you're going again for a balance build and you can't get up to like that 8K range, or you can't quite get up to Harrison Burton. I think those are good options for you. Creed again, I think it's going to be very popular here. Uh, it's going to be hard, like I said, to get him into the lineup. But maybe in if you're playing like a 20 max here, like skip Almirola, you save $500, and if something happens to Almirola, look at all the leverage you have here. He's got better potential for place differential. He's got just as much chance to probably get up there and race in the top 10. Maybe they short pit to sacrifice stage points if they're not quite to the top 10 by stage one. Get the place or get the track position, and then stay out there and run in the top 10 the rest of the race. So that's completely plausible. Even though he finished 26th here last year in a different car, I think that he definitely has some upside. And again, I think that's the way you want to go with the build. I get it if you're going stars and scrubs and want to try to get all three 10K guys in there, but trust me on this one. Play somebody up front like Smith or Zilich, throw Allgaier in there, and then go with like Sheldon Creed and see how that works out. And then skip Almirola, even though he's a prime play, just at least in one line if you're doing a 20 max or a 3 max or something like that, just to differentiate yourself, just in case Almirola has an issue. Look, last year he finished 12th. Like he's not like when Kyle Busch went to the Truck Series a couple years ago, and every single race you had to play him, or it was like you always take Kyle Busch and then figure out what other five you want. Almirola is a really, really, really good play, but it's a high variable sport and it's a high variable game in DFS. So if you want to try to play like sometimes a cash build in a GPP works out really well because you just need to make that one little like differentiation, and this could be a very key one there. And I hope you're still listening at this point in the video because some of these nuggets like really, really help you out here. Already said Josh Williams, I really like here. I'm really fade. I think he's starting a little bit too far forward here. Chris Wright, GPP. I think if you're looking for out of the cheap cars, I'd probably take Gase because he's got the most place differential. But if you can't get there, I like him over, even though he's starting a little bit farther forward. Finished 31st last year. What did he finish last year? The car finished 16th, but Alfredo was driving it. So I think he's got the best car out of these 5K guys down here. Perkins, I like, so hopefully you have the $500 if you need to go this far down. I said Perkins can be your pivot off of Sieg as a prime to get you more cash if you go in Stars and Scrub build. Thompson in the Sam Hunt racing car. This car finished 13th last year with I forget who was driving. I think it was like maybe a cup guy or somebody like that. But I think that he has some upside. But if you look at all the pricing of all the cars down here, I'd probably save $1,000 and drop to like a 5K guy over him. But he's been playing GPP. Honeyman, I'm going to make one of my 10K guys down here. Last year, he finished 18th here in this race, and I think he definitely has some some upside. Honeyman, Moneyman, we used to call him last year. I think he's not a cash play, but I think if you're going for the 10K, I think he's going to have low ownership just because he's a little bit more expensive down here than some of the other ones. But I really like his upside and potential over some of the other plays down here. Pool, I'm going to make a prime play down here because I you're going to need the value. And last year he finished 19th in this car. Alpha Prime Racing is solid. And is he going to get 11 place difference for the points? No. But if you can get five, or if you can even hold the line here at 6,500, and finish like where he starts, I think that's enough to get you where you need to go and open up enough salary for the rest of your lineup. So I really need to put a value guy as a prime play out there, and here you go. Like I said, if you need two of them, go Perkins in pool, um, skip Sieg, throw Almirola in, and then um, take your two doms up top, and then figure out who's left to make your lineup work out. So Massey, Cram, Smithley, all the same story here. Obviously, Cram's the cheapest, so if I had to pick one, then that's where I'm going to go. Smithley's car finished like 24th here last year, so Massey and Cram, I don't think really raced. Mark Cameron Racing, like has always has the potential to have tech issues because it's not part of like a larger team where they can share ideas and parts and stuff. So single car teams like like I like Clement and AM Racing, but Harmon just doesn't seem to be funded enough to sometimes keep quality cars on the uh, track. So that worries a little bit, a little bit about Cram. Blicky, I think is like a solid cash play down here. I know he's more of a road course guy, but he just has all the experience, and he's just kind of a vanilla guy that he's a light version of Josh Williams, I think, that just has floor at his price range and just someone that you can kind of plug in and usually is solid enough, especially if he qualifies anywhere 30th on back, closer to the back. Usually makes it through the race. Might be a couple laps down, but usually a solid performance. Ellis, same team, $200 cheaper. Ellis finished 22nd, so I think you can look at him also down here potentially. Austin Green, 15th in 10 lap average. I think people are going to look at the price tag down here and like gravitate more towards like the um the guys that have in 5K range, but I think that he could definitely do differentiation in your lineup. And again, with these 10K guys, you want to play these three and then play the chalkier guys. So it's like a balance of a chalk lineup, but then these are two or three guys that you take from this these 10K suggestions to differentiate your lineup. And we've had several people get very close to taking out the tournament by taking these lower owned pivot plays off of some of the chalkier plays just to be a little bit different. They've worked out better than some of the other guys, and that's what really propels you up the chart towards the top of the GPPs. So like him there. Gase, I think is okay down here. He's actually had a decent start to the season. 5,300. The car finished, or he finished 30th last year in a different car. He was in the 35. I don't think it really matters. I think they'll just switch decals on him. I think it's probably the same like team and car and everything. They just kind of rotate him and whoever else is there just to be able to for owners and for provisionals and stuff and to get into races for not qualifying to keep those driver points up. I think he keeps on flipping between like the 53 and the 35. You see that with sometimes with the Ryan Sieg cars too, just to try to make the cars more valuable. So if it does come down to a race where they might not qualify, they can maybe get in on drivers or owners points or things like that. And then Greg Van Alst down here, I just don't think that he's even though the car finished 30th, I just again he's an attrition play if you want to, but just not a good driver. Probably going to be multiple laps down. So I got for a few more questions. Put them in the chat below. Who made Megro31 on Twitter/X. If you want more information on FSi DFS, please go to the description of the video. Get into our Discord. It's free there. The link in the website. You can join it. We do have some free content for you there, but also it's a good opportunity if there isn't like practice and qualifying and I do need to do a speculation video that you can ask questions there, or maybe sometimes if I'm feeling generous to our FSI family that you don't have to pay for a subscription to be in the Discord, but we do throw free content in there and free offers every so often. So it just pays to be in there just to be there. Plus, if we're in the same server, then you can ask me questions directly on Discord. Again, um, can't give you all the answers. Like we have to make our paying subs the priority because they did pay for the service, but I like really like I'm not going to help you out because you haven't paid. That's why I'm in business doing this. I enjoy breaking down this and providing and helping you win and helping you stay in the game and not lose all your money a couple times in and then never ever play NASCAR DFS again, or risk spending more money than you can afford to. So hopefully if you're in the game and this helps you be responsible, make educated decisions. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Views have been outstanding. So I'll be back tonight for the cup video. Cup videos have been fire. They've been close to 1.5K views almost every single week to start the season, which I know that'll cool off as other things like start to come back, like baseball and summer activities and vacations and stuff. But I just truly appreciate all your viewership. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an amazing weekend. Good luck in your contest, and I'll see you next time.